Hi, I'm Raven Black and I'm drinking at Moe's.
This is Drinkin at Moe's, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's all so mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin at Moe's, where we don't quit. Drinkin at Moe's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, always a scream.
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinking Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're finishing filling out your order, use the code Drinking at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody, welcome Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill by now. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Because, well, YouTube's algorithm is a pain in the ass. We are most places you can find your audio podcast too, so leave reviews, leave comments there. Spotify has got that going. But today, I'm excited to have with me Raven Black. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain. It's a pretty big next couple of days for wrestling, not just on a national scale, but, for me personally, Sunday I'm actually making my commentary debut. So
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty excited. Get a call. The main event for the show is a match featuring former Ring of Honor and New Japan star Cheeseburger.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm excited. And oh, bunch of kids outside the window. I was like, why is somebody screaming? Anyways, see, wacky shit like that happens. But yeah, no, I'm excited. And tomorrow I actually have a recording with Eric Dillinger, so I'm hyped up for that. But first thing I like to start off with everybody with when they first come on the show is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you deciding to make that leap into the business.
Well, I had originally worked in Ripley, Mississippi with a guy named Jay Webb and his wife. And I remember they used to talk about wrestling and all that. I never really thought about it, but I remember watching it as a kid with my dad and stuff like that, and I always liked it. But like I've never been to a show before,
Mm.
and I remember they invited me to go to EPW in Ripley, so it worked out because it was right there. So I went and I don't know what happened, but I just went and I fell in love with it. And ever since then, I wanted to be in the ring. And I actually went through four trainers
Mm.
and and it was quite an experience. The first time I went, I had a lot of personal stuff happening and I couldn't like go through with it. And then I had um, two other people that really couldn't teach me anything.
Mm.
I couldn't even get past a roll.
Oh
That's how
boy.
bad it was. Yeah, that's how bad it was. And then EPW finally started an academy. And I don't know what it was, but like I tried so hard for years to be a wrestler and it just never happened. And then finally I was right with myself. I didn't have any distractions. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it this time. Like I'm gonna go to the training because they always do how the trainer there does it is he likes to do like the first training session kind of for free in a way
Mm,
um, to see if you actually want to be in it and if you're serious.
mm.
And I did it and I fell in love with it. And he got me to the point where I am. And I don't know if I could get there if it wasn't for that man. So,
They that is awesome. And you know what? A very interesting way to, you know, kind of gauge people's interest because health, the the first session's gonna be free. It's like, hell, why not? And then you find
mhm.
out like hell, I've done pro wrestling boot camps before and like getting that little bit of a taste. And like once you start, bumps and stuff, and you're like, you really find out that, yeah, you hear wrestlers talk about, there's predetermined aspects, but the shit y'all have to go through in that ring,
Mhm.
it definitely takes a toll on your body. And hell, one pro wrestling boot camp I remember in particular, I was walking funny for about a week.
I remember the first time I like it hurt to blink. So, and I just stayed in bed for the whole next day. It was
Oh,
so bad.
I can imagine because hell, even for ones that don't uh, have that first session kind of free, it's like those first couple of them I've often heard are some of the most intense because it's like they're really trying to weed out the people that don't really want to do it.
Right. Like
So,
I was in the military
hmm.
years ago and and I'm not gonna say that that was easy because it really was. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I like I don't know. I think wrestling kind of topped it because you put your body through so much. And with the military, you kind of already done all that stuff. Like you've done the running, the push-ups, the exercises before. Maybe not to the degree that they push you through, but like I've never been able to just throw myself down and not try to catch myself and just throw yourself down and it's okay.
Yeah, no, that I definitely can imagine being a bit of a learning process there because yeah, it's not just a natural thing for you to just flop back
Yeah.
like that. But you brought it up, being in the military. Um, I have a guess, but what branch was it?
I was in the army.
Ah, you and my friend that records my 2 cents stuff with me would get along then. He's a fellow Army veteran. I'm a Navy.
My oldest brother's in the Navy, or he was in the Navy. His fiance is still in it though.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I was in from '08 through 12, and when that whole Arab Spring thing was starting,
hmm
that's when I was over there.
Oh wow.
So yeah, remember being in Bahrain and having to take a different route to a different entrance to the base because of shit, and having to shut down the ship because of car bombs going off, and
Oh goodness.
then going up to Israel through the Suez Canal and having, you actually get to be outside for that part. But like they literally had like a flatbed truck with an automatic machine gun thing on the back patrolling each side as you're going through there, which was freaking weird. And then going on a trip over to Jerusalem, and the first thing the guy said when getting on the bus was, "We're not expecting any rocket attacks today." And I'm just like, What? That's what you're gonna lead off with? But yeah, no, I could hell, we could probably have a whole nother freaking podcast just on military stories. I mean, shit, I've had a few fellow veterans on, so it's always entertaining getting to
hmm
hear some of that stuff. But I mean, before we get into the wrestling, but you really do in a lot of aspects when it comes to the military. It might be a lot of people's first learning experience to like you tell a lot of people what you did, and hell, I know I've heard it a bunch where they're like, "Man, I don't know if I could do that," and I'm like,
Yeah.
you really find out what you can do when you don't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we would camp in the woods and it would be snow on the ground and there's no tents, no nothing. It's just you, the sleeping bag, and the rifle. And people are like, how did you keep warm? I'm like, you'd be surprised how warm them sleeping bags can get whenever it's just you. Now, as far as the rifle though, that thing is cold as mess, and you kind of want to push that as far as away from you. But but like some people like they get so shocked because I don't look like a military person. And then they get shocked even more whenever I tell them that I was a mechanic in the military as well. So it's always interesting to see people's faces whenever they realize all that. So
No, yeah, I can only imagine. I have a few friends that stayed in a little longer than I did, and yeah, no, they definitely get sort of the same. But hell, I remember on deployment, being out at sea and then having to stay up for 4 days straight one time, not even getting to lay down, and I was literally so delirious by the end that the last thing I remember anybody saying before actually laying down was, "We might want to let him go to sleep now." And then I kid you not, there is something different about having to work on something on the outside of the ship. And when you go out there, it's just water everywhere.
oh
Not a
yeah.
damn bit of land in sight. It is weird.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm honestly, and this is kind of embarrassing, but I'm terrified of the ocean. So I could not, you are a lot better than me because I could not.
Oh hell. There was there's still a tradition where, swim call where, you get a jump into the ocean. My ship was somewhat smaller, but yeah, it always happened to be during that little bit of sleep time that I got. So I was like, as cool as it would be, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. So yeah. Anyway, so getting into the wrestling, I saw some stuff on your page. Well, actually, first thing, I don't want to skip this part because I do like talking about how people come up with their in-ring personas. Because when I was, trying to do my homework for the episode, there was one person that I've actually got to meet and, you know, off camera talk to a little bit multiple times. And I kind of was getting vibes of that person. That person's Jessica Havoc.
hmm
I'm like, okay, I'm getting that same vibe here. So, how did you come up with yours?
Well, really, whenever I first started having matches, we actually with the academy, we're not really allowed to pick our gimmicks. It's
Mm,
because how K-Swiss is the trainer, but how he likes to do it is he likes to hand you a gimmick and see what you can make of it.
ah,
So he gave me one and really it was just basically just be this big badass gothic chick at first. Well, and then I went to Memphis and Memphis wrestling and I remember I I got mad after a match because the match did not go as planned, and I got so mad. And as I was leaving, I just sat there and screamed. I don't know what happened, but I just sat there and full on grabbed my hair and screamed. And I remember Dustin Starr going, I love that. I don't know why you did that. I don't know what came over you, but I want you to do that. So, well, then me and Swiss was talking even more, and we started trying to adapt somewhat of a crazy gimmick in a way, and which I I I still struggle with it in a way
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to fully grasp it yet. But right now I'm not technically wrestling right now because I have a medical condition that's going to put me out for a little bit.
Okay.
But I do plan on going back, and which I'm going to be better and bigger and better than ever once I go back.
Yeah.
And I still go to the training sessions and help out there. And we have a plan after I come back, and I think it's going to be good. And it's going to be kind of like evil Alexis Bliss meet
Mm,
Nikki Cross in a way. And I think it's going to be good if I can pull it off. So,
okay. Okay.
yeah.
I can see it. And bringing when you gave me the image of pulling your hair back and screaming, I got the image in my head of just much like the frustrations of things not going the way you had them envisioned for the match. Excuse me. Wow, what was it? I thought that one was going to be quiet, but so I had the image in my head of you know things can get frustrating for people.
Mhm.
Like hell, but I have not made it a secret that you know little over a week ago I lost my grandpa, and over the weekend we had his funeral and everything, and you know trying to juggle the podcast stuff with that, with my wife and I being expecting, and
Mhm.
it was just been a whole bunch of head all over the place where it's like, yeah, I'm bald, but if I had hair on my head, I would have been. So it's like all of that stuff can be, when you're in a character like that, it can be kind of, feeding into that. Like you're using like real life stuff into wrestling, which, it comes into, you know, when people can see that it's like authentically you and like you're really getting into it.
Mhm.
That's when the people like just latch onto it, and like they people can sense when you're not just playing a character.
Right. Well, they can relate to it more because you're
True.
real. So,
Yeah.
people always like if you act your real self and just turn it up 100%, then people can relate in their own way, and people know that that's really you and not
Mhm.
just some character that you just picked out.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yep. No, that definitely, because hell, well, I might not this Sunday, as of this recording, I might not be in the ring, but that's how like I'm bringing it to the commentary. I'm gonna because hell, when I'm talking about wrestling, I can be that Pat McAfee goofy, just off the wall person. And I'm like, yep, I'm gonna be bringing that in there because okay, some of my ideas because I just have them in my head and I want to share them. But there's a tag team match with these two bigger guys,
mhm.
and one of them used to have this other character that I'm like, hmm, and it gave me the idea calling them BDE, And then having my commentary partners be like, well, they're big dudes. And I'm like, yeah, that's what. And then, actually, I don't know if this is happening, but another Pat McAfee influence. There's one guy that they're having in this battle royal that, like, quite frankly, nobody wants there. Uh,
Oh,
he was just given a spot because somebody backed out that was supposed to be bringing like 5, 6 people.
oh,
And I'm like, I told him because, we've, my friend's the one running the show. We were like, give me a list of all the people that are in there. And I bet you I can come up with an idea. And I'm like, okay, you can either have some people pull double duty that are in other matches that aren't in that, or if you want to go full on Pat McAfee at the Royal Rumble, I'll do it. I don't even have to eliminate anybody.
yeah,
I can like help people eliminate somebody, but then, have like, there's going to be some people in there like much bigger than me. I'm not a small guy by any means, but I can just be like up over the corner and on out of there as soon as they start trying to corner me, and boom, there you go. You don't have to worry about that guy anymore.
right.
So we'll see. I mean, it would be pretty fucking cool, but nah.
Yeah, battle
But
royals are always fun.
oh yeah, and hell, I'm already somewhat getting to fulfill a dream because the podcasting, thinking maybe someday I'll get involved in a show, and now I was like one of the first people that he talked to about coming on, and now this might be happening. I'm like, if you would have told the me back in high school that someday I'd be doing this,
Hmm.
I would have thought you were insane.
I think a lot of us that are in the business probably thought the same thing.
Oh yeah, hell, some of the people I've been able to talk to, from Bronson Reed to Billy Starks to Ring of Honor former 6-man tag champ Dutch to, good Lord, I've developed a little bit of a following in the deathmatch community. So some of like the big names through that I've had on, and it's just, I have even had the opportunity of taking my friend to a show where it was Sammy Callahan's promotion, Revolver. I'm
Hmm.
like, I've talked to a bunch of the guys there. I've had a bunch of them on, and through the podcast, a bunch of them have started watching. And I'm like, yeah, I've talked to so and so and this and that. And then we get there, and he like sees them coming up to me like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. And
Hmm.
then on the way home, he's like, you never really know whether to believe somebody when they say stuff like that. But damn it, you weren't fucking kidding. All right. Well, enough about me. We talking about you now, and you brought up Memphis wrestling. Now,
Hmm.
for going way back in history, Memphis wrestling is like one of those storied places in professional wrestling. Like,
Hmm.
it was definitely known as one of the most intense territories back in like the original territory days.
Right.
Going back to Jerry Lawler and stuff, and hell, we've all seen some of the footage and the documentaries made up of it.
Mhm.
And I was gonna say this, when it comes to Memphis Wrestling, the promotion, I was looking at the logo, and I don't know if it's maybe loosely affiliated with whoever runs the like championship wrestling from Hollywood and some of those,
Hmm.
because the logos look very similar.
Yeah.
Do you know if that is true that they have like that affiliation, or is it more they're running their own thing, which, hey, I respect,
Mhm.
but you know, I'm constantly learning about new places, new promotions and stuff. So while I might not be as familiar with this iteration of Memphis wrestling, what has it been like for you?
Well, I don't know too much about that aspect. I do think that they kind of run their own thing. Um, I loved it whenever I was going. I was there for a short time because I only just started, my very first match was this past Christmas Day.
Mm.
So I wasn't with them for very long before I ended up with this condition. But I'm hoping maybe after I go back to wrestling, maybe I'll be back. I'm not too sure. But I enjoyed going every time. They we don't get that long of a matches, but at the same time, like the people are so nice. The crowd is so good. Like they're a very lively crowd. So but my favorite time being there was when the very first time with just Jody. I was with her. We did a tag team thing for one little segment where we were both kind of heels, but I wanted to cheat. She didn't want to cheat. So we had a
Mm.
lot of back and forth in the match, and then which led to a match between the two of us, which was probably my most fun that I had there. But the atmosphere, everything about that place is great. I loved it whenever I went. But yeah, they Dustin, he's so sweet and so nice and very encouraging. But everybody there, I would say, like they want you to do better. They want you to do good. Um, if you ask somebody, "Hey, watch my match," they will do it and they will tell you their honest opinion about it. And they they really help other people and help bring up the younger, like the greener people.
Yeah, and that's awesome the way people will give you those opinions like that, because if you just have people, for the lack of a better way to put it, kissing your ass,
Yeah.
you're not gonna really know where and what you need to improve on. You need to be given that. It might sting a little bit, but then you get, oh, there's the kitty. But
I know. Sorry.
I can be kind of like that character Doug from the movie Up, where it's like all
Hmm.
of a sudden the kitty, I'll be like, "Ooh, kitty!"
Yeah, now I got another one that's about to pop up too. I'm trying to keep them back.
But
But
like
yeah,
like I was saying, you get in there, and you'll never improve on something if you don't know you need to improve on it.
right. My K Swiss had always told us that the guy that tells you you had a great match does not care. Like, but the guy that is willing to tell you, hey, you need to work on this, or hey, this right here could have been better, or that could have been better, that's the guy that actually cares. So
I
never listen to the guy that tells you, hey, you had a great match. Always listens to the ones that have something to give back to you.
Oh,
So
most definitely. And let me just, okay. For some reason, I don't even know what the damn number was that tried to call me, but meh, fuck it. If they were that important, they'll leave a message. But anyways, oh god, where was now I lost my damn train of thought. Well, that is just lovely. Anyways, we will go ahead and move on. Oh, actually, now I do remember it. Talking about, with Memphis and, pretty much a lot of places down in the Southeast. It's like, yeah, they can really get into their wrestling shows. And most of my first year in the Navy was, down south, from like Pensacola, Florida into, Alabama and Mississippi and that
Mhm.
whole part of the Gulf Coast. And yeah, I I don't know how true it is, but I've been told that when I get like really going, that sometimes a bit of that, an accent that I must have picked up when I was down there starts coming out, and I'm like, okay.
I'm the same way. Anytime I hear promos, like I had a couple promos on well, no, I just had one on EPW, and I really hate it because I was supposed to be so mad, and because this girl cost me a match somewhere else, and I was challenging her because we're both heels, and I was supposed and I hate it whenever I look back at it because I sound so nice. And I'm not trying to be nice, but I just sound so nice and polite, and I just hate it. And then there was one time after I finally won a match and over me cheating, I was pulling the tights. And all you hear at the very end is me, my face in the camera, going, I smart. And it just sounded so sweet and so polite. And I'm not supposed to be that. And I hate it every single time I hear myself on camera. So,
Oh, trust me, I have yet to really watch too many of my episodes back because, yeah, I'm kind of like that. I'll be like, oh God, I sound like that. I've developed a little bit of a following, so it's like, hey, okay, some people think it's just fine, but there's times where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna continue editing and just. Eh. But talking about EPW, another promotion that I might not be as familiar with, but it looks like they have a lot of interesting stuff going on from like this Summer of Chaos tour
hmm
that it looks like they just had one of those stops. What was things been like there for you? I know now you're, with the medical condition, you're
hmm
having some time off, but what was it like for you there?
Well, honestly, EPW will always be my home. Like that's who trained me. That's where I started. They even told me that whenever I come back from the medical condition, that I will always have a place there. Like, it's truly a wonderful place. Neil Taylor, absolutely amazing. He's very professional. He's very passionate as well. And and there at that academy, at that place, they really treat like they teach you the value of the business. They get you to pay your dues. They teach you to respect the business is one of the biggest things because we've had a few people come in our academy and did not respect the business. They really
Mm.
didn't care, but by the time they left that training session, they respected it very highly. But EPW is an amazing show, has amazing talent, and everybody that works there are so nice, so amazing. Like I just can't get enough of them. Like they'll no matter what, I don't know what will happen in the future, but EPW will always be my home. To me, the I don't know, I'm not putting down any other promotions, but to me it's the greatest promotion. So like I will always talk great about EPW.
Hey, that nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their home promotions, and
hmm
it's always nice when you have people like that behind you because the world of professional wrestling, whether it be on the independents or on national TV, it can get kind of nuts.
Yeah, it
So when you
can.
have good people like that behind you, that's always a great thing.
Right.
And hell, you mentioned them having a lot of great talent coming through there.
hmm
Actually, one of the people that was on the July stop for that Summer of Chaos tour, former NWA United States Tag Champ and also former guest of the show, AJ Kazano,
hmm
was on that, and I'm like, that really caught my eye because I'm like, oh, he was fun to talk to. I remember him.
Yeah, he was so nice and so much bigger in person than what he looks like on TV. But he's a very sweet guy, and he's good too. And I love like he gives me kind of Rip from Yellowstone vibes.
Mm,
And I think that may be another reason why I love him because I love Yellowstone and of course I love Rip. So like he's a pretty good guy and I hope we have him back in the future too and
that
comes around more often.
that would be fun. And yeah, I hell before we move on here, you brought up something that got me thinking. I've definitely had a few instances of meeting different wrestlers where you see them on TV and they look huge,
Mhm.
but you get there and it goes either one way. Either they're shorter than you expected or they're even bigger.
Yes.
Like Bronson Reed. He was definitely one that like I knew he was, but like I for some reason thought that he was gonna be taller than me, and we're about the same height.
Yeah.
And then like Lance Archer was another guy that I met that like tall dude, but I'm looking up, I'm like, hello. And the one that really surprised me with uh he was a little bit like he's still jacked, but
Mhm.
his height was shorter than I expected. Jeff
Yeah.
Cobb,
Oh.
like still pretty jacked dude. Like he's like muscles upon muscles,
Yeah.
but like he was probably about up to my shoulder. I'm like, okay, you were definitely shorter than I was expecting.
Yeah, that's like lovely Miss Larkin. I don't know if you know her, but
I do, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
she's amazing too. That's one of my dream opponents actually. But she I don't know why, but I only saw her on social media and videos and stuff. And she actually came to one of our Summer of Chaos stops in Batesville. I think it was Batesville, yeah. And she is just a tiny little thing. And so I thought she was like my size or maybe taller, but she is like just a little tiny little tiny cute thing that looks like she can't hurt nobody, but that also fits with her gimmick too. So
Yeah. And then you definitely have those people out there that like they have that persona that like you look at them and like before you actually get to talk to them, you're like, dude, I don't get intimidated by much, but that guy looks scary. And
yeah.
just like the way they carry themselves, in front of
Hmm.
the camera, you know, some people, but I definitely had it to where like Dan Severn, I met him one
Hmm.
time and like in the line, I'm like, don't kill me. But then getting to talk to him, one of the nicest dudes. Another
Hmm.
one that hell, we've seen witness to it multiple times. Swerve.
Hmm.
He can play one sadistic son of a bitch, but you talk to him off camera,
Hmm.
one of the nicest dudes ever.
Yeah.
I've got nothing but great things to say about him. And it's always funny because, it seems like there's this weird, for the lack of a better term, a bit of a paradox here where it's like sometimes, and just sometimes, because there's exceptions to the rule, that some of the most sadistic heels in front of the
Hmm.
camera are some of the nicest people ever behind
Oh
it.
yeah.
And then the exact flip side for those, you know, white meat baby faces that,
Hmm.
you get them behind the camera and they're kind of an asshole.
Oh yeah. Like it's kind of like acting in a way,
Mm,
but they're such good actors and it's kind of like Rhea Ripley in a way.
mm,
Like, she's so intimidating and so mean on camera and then you get these videos of that fans take of her like the sweetest person ever. And Like I've heard of I can't think of a name, but I remember somebody telling me about this one guy who was a huge baby face and so nice and stuff like that in front of the camera. But the second that they talk to him and you tell them, "Hey, like you got me into wrestling," they're just like, "Oh, like you're just an effing mark," and just walk away. Like they just don't even care. And it's crazy because those marks are what keeps you in front of the camera. Because without
Mhm.
them, you would not have a job.
And that's the other thing. There's, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with being a mark for
Right.
somebody or something. You get it has such a negative connotation to it.
Hmm.
But when I talk to people, it's like we hell, anybody that's involved in any aspect of the business, from podcasting to the commentators, the wrestlers, we've all been marks for
Hmm.
somebody, some promotion, whatever, at some point. That's what got you in.
Right.
So in all aspects, it's like hell, we've all been marks at one point or another.
Right. And if you really think about it, we all are still marks in our own ways. Like, if I ever sat down in front of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, I would probably just pass out because I'm a huge mark for them. I
So,
know,
you know,
I know so many people in the business that are huge marks for people. I remember when I think it was SummerSlam. We had a show the same night that SummerSlam happened. And there was guys in the back that was sitting there watching SummerSlam and they were completely marking over Roman Reigns coming back, the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley episode, like all types of stuff that happened
mm-hmm.
that night. So, I
Oh
mean, if
yeah,
you really think about it, everybody is a mark in their own
yeah,
way that's in this business.
oh
So,
totally. Like hell, I would like to think that I don't get starstruck too easily, but if I ever got to meet this man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I yeah, I wouldn't be able to get a word out. He'd be like, "Use your words, kid." And I'm like,
that would
sign,
be me.
please.
That would be me.
Yeah, and like I've got to meet some of my favorites. Like I met Edge at a World of Wheels show once,
Oh.
Adam Copeland, and I actually okay the Elimination Chamber DVD cover where it looks like he's biting the cage. I
Hmm.
have that signed by him,
Oh, that's cool.
framed up and ready to display. I've been able to meet, oh God, Jeff Cobb, Swerve and Keith Lee. I got to meet Rikishi and have him sign a Head Shrinker Fatu figure and tell him the story that him as Head Shrinkers was in my first ever wrestling show I ever went to.
Hmm.
That was cool. And, you know, getting to meet people like, you know, Matt Cardona and
Hmm.
Danhausen.
Right.
It's like Matt Cardona is another one of those guys that like he can behind the camera play one hell of an asshole, but
Hmm.
when you talk to him as a fan, like at getting a figure signed or whatever, totally cool dude.
Yeah.
All right, well, one thing with the person that I said that you gave me the same vibes as Jessica Havoc, uh, she is definitely one of those people, and you giving me those same vibes as her, I'd lump you in here as equal opportunity ass kickers. And it was like Havoc, she'll go up against anybody, male,
Yeah.
female, it don't matter. And I have two categories here where first one here, bit of a name game, and I tried to theme it towards my guest as much as possible. And with this whole equal opportunity ass kicker thing,
Hmm.
each of these people at least at one point, because being on national TV, you're not going to get as much opportunities to go up against anybody regardless of gender. It,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the way it is. But independents, they've definitely been known as one of those.
Right.
So I give you the name, first thought that pops into your head.
Okay.
First one, it's going to be interesting to see where she ends up here in the next year or two. The juggernaut, Jordan Grace.
Yeah. I feel like I would take a lot of bumps with her. I feel like she could throw me around like a rag doll, but at the same time, I think I could also toss her around too, in a way. So I think that would be fun. It would be a fun because most girls can't lift girls my size up, you know, that's in the indies. So I think it would hurt, but it would be fun to
Oh
go
yeah,
with her.
I know. Oh God, this last Royal Rumble when she came out there, when her music
Mm,
hit, it took me a second because I'm like, okay, not thinking they're gonna bring anybody from outside in. I'm
hmm
like, who the hell has who the hell for the women's rumble has an entrance music that has sirens in it? And then she walks out, and I'm like, holy shit. And you ask me, her coming out
hmm
in her rumble appearance, no disrespect to Mickey James, but
hmm
I almost feel uh, Jordan's rumble appearance was bigger than Mickey James's one because
Right.
Mickey already had the WWE ties.
hmm
She has that alumni ties to being there.
hmm
Jordan didn't.
Yeah. Well, she was like a surprise,
It,
and
it
everybody
was,
loves surprises. So,
oh yeah, nope, and that, yeah, it. Whew. All right, these next two people have also actually been former guests of the show.
okay.
Well, actually, one of them. The first one, I've met her at something that the show was involved in.
hmm
I didn't get to have her on the show, unfortunately. But the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Athena.
Mm, I hate to say it, but I don't think I know that one. I don't think I know her
Mm,
very well.
She
Um,
she was Ember Moon in WWE.
okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. I think that would be fun too. I like, honestly, I'm the type I'll go against anybody
Mm,
in a way. It helps that I was trained with men. I was the only girl,
mm,
and my trainer would actually, um, I don't want to say smoked because that's a military term, but he would, in a way, punish the guys if they treated me like a girl.
mm,
So really, honestly, any person that you name, I, guy, girl, um, I've done it all. Like I'm willing to face all. But I think that would be fun to go against her though.
oh,
But
I thought that would be good because I've been lucky enough to get to see her perform,
mhm.
and yeah, it's something special. All right, next one. She hasn't really got to be against opposite genders since
Okay.
jumping to AEW / Ring of Honor. But on the independent level, yeah, she's gone up against guys the size of Matt Tremont,
Wow.
Tank, and some others. And She's been a former guest of the show, former Ring of Honor women's television champion, Billy Starks.
Oh yeah, that would be really fun. I think I would have to take some bumps with her too. But yeah, I think it would be a good and competitive match if I went against her.
Oh yeah, she just has this way of, I don't know. I can't really describe it because the time that I got to see her in person
Hmm.
was in a scramble match, and it's like there there's so much crazy stuff you can pull out during a scramble match that
Oh yeah.
it's it was something. I haven't got to see her, in a one-on-one, but live anyways, live in person.
Hmm.
Definitely one of those that I'm excited to see where she goes because
Hmm.
at the young age that she's still at and all the stuff that she's already accomplished,
Hmm.
it's crazy to think where she could be when she starts thinking about retiring.
Right.
All right. Last one here. Jessica Havoc.
I think that would be interesting. That would I think it would be very competitive, very back and forth. And I think that would actually probably be one of my most fun matches. So I hope maybe one day it happens, but we shall see.
Yeah. I mean, it being, you know, her being involved with, TNA and, Revolver and stuff,
Hmm.
probably a little more likely than if she were signed by like WWE to make that happen.
Right.
But, you know, when you brought up, how you were trained and the guys getting punished for treating you like a girl in there,
Hmm.
she she definitely comes across as one that definitely, well, I can't say definitely had the same experience, but seeing her in person, she definitely comes across as one that's like she don't want to get treated like a girl in there. If you're gonna
Right.
go, you're freaking go.
Right. I had to learn that actually because once I started having matches with girls, so much different than boys, men. Like well, and I hate to say it, but some women they like to do they like to separate wrestling. They like to separate the men wrestling and the women wrestling. And our trainer, he's very big on there is no two different wrestling. There's one
Yeah.
wrestling and that's it. And I actually and he got so mad at me because he started realizing because I would get so terrified that I'm going to make somebody mad. And because I don't like, I've actually had a couple girls tell me that they wouldn't take things from me because they look so nasty. Like my punches, I can't throw a forearm to save my life. We tried it, can't do it. So my trainer taught me how to throw punches. Well, my punches, some, I might have a couple weak ones here and there, but majority of the time, my punches look mean and nasty. And a couple of the moves I give look mean and nasty. And I actually had a match with Shalance Royal. It was a tag match, but it was a lot of me and her in there. And she was very snug and I loved it because I actually had a mark on my forehead from her giving me a basement drop kick and but like never felt it or anything and I absolutely loved it and I asked her I'm like how is it like how do you put up with the women that complain about how you work and she told me, she was like, well, honestly, you're just going to have to tell them to get over it because that's how you work. That's how you were trained. If you want to get bigger, that's how you're going to have to keep working because like the girly wrestling might work for the indies, but if you want to get bigger, like where she's at, then you have to work that way because all them women work that way.
Oh yeah.
So it's I would really love to have more matches that are like that. Like and it's no disrespect to some of the girls that I've been with because a lot of them are great, but it's just it's I I wish I had more matches like I did in training
Mm,
where um I like the guy wasn't scared to drop kick me in the face. You know, like they weren't scared to treat me like one of the guys. And I loved it because it's the most fun that you have. I mean, it's wrestling.
yeah,
If you're not in it for to be in it, then you're in the wrong business.
yeah.
So,
No, and that is one thing that I mean, it's definitely true that especially on like the national scales, it isn't the women's wrestling isn't the what am I trying to find the words for here? It isn't the bra and panties pill fight era
right,
anymore of women's wrestling.
right.
The women's wrestling now can get just as hard hitting, if not harder in some aspects than some of the guys' matches.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, nowadays, nobody really watches women wrestling because honestly, they think it sucks. And I have been to shows where the women matches sucked. And there have been shows where the women matches were great. And it's like, how do you make that the first match, but you made this other women match like later and it was horrible compared to the other match? And like, I don't know, it really irritates me because I'm not in it to be gawked at or looked at or, you know, to show off what I have or anything like that. I'm in there to wrestle. I'm in
Mm,
there because I want to be taken serious. I don't
yeah,
want to like I can't stand the bra and panty, like the wet t-shirt, the whole
mm,
sexualizing
yeah,
women. Like to me, if you want to watch all that, there's a different website for that. So it's like so it's like to me, I felt like if women would take it more serious and quit caring about their face, their moneymaker, how they look, like if they put as much effort as they do in their looks, as in their training, as in their in-ring work, then women wrestling would just take off just as big as the men wrestling.
oh
So,
yeah, and there's been times recently where it's gotten right up there, but
mhm,
yeah, there's definitely it's like some ebbs and flows. There's been
mhm,
some high points recently, and then there's been some not so great. But
right.
so is the business, I guess. So now I got some random questions. Some might
Okay.
be wrestling related, some might not be, some might have absolutely nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far.
Okay.
So, first question here. I I give you the questions. First answer that pops in your head. The first one, and we can kind of twist this one a little bit because if you can remember, you know, relatively shorter career so far, or craziest in match moment for you, or one that you've been there to witness at a show that you've been at.
Um, trying to think. I really haven't had crazy in-ring matches with myself, but the craziest to me that I've seen was somebody jumping off of the top of a steel cage and landing on somebody. To me, and then they ended up ripping their ACL.
Oh,
So, and they continued the match. And like to me, that's crazy because I've ripped my ACL in training and I know how bad that hurts. And the fact that he did that to me is just mind blowing because I know how that feels. And the fact that he continued the match and kept going with it is just mind blowing to me. And it's
I
crazy.
I can imagine. I know I've witnessed a few crazy moments from ladder matches where they're, you know, ladder bridge between the guardrail and the ring apron,
Hmm.
and then somebody having somebody on their back, and they go and they leap onto the ladder, and the ladder just.
Oh goodness.
Or my first ever legit death match that I got to witness, it ended by them taking 4 folding chairs and bridging 2 panes of glass,
Ooh.
and then they lit the glass on fire.
Ugh.
Or hell, you can really just say any match with anybody that was in the second gear crew.
Hmm.
Those 3 letters, craziness, but literally any match that I got to see with all 3 of them, but especially this last time where it was at Revolver, and it was the Cage of Horrors, and it was
Hmm.
literally all 3 of them against each other. And there was like a scaffold above the thing that
Hmm.
somebody jumped off twice, like somebody and then somebody else. And then fire was involved twice.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, yeah, that just crazy in match moments. That whole match.
It seems like it.
Yeah. All right. Now we've talked a little bit about this. You meant, well, hell, we've had a run in from one of yours. Talked about dogs and cats. You consider yourself more of a dog or a cat person?
I don't honestly, I think I'm just an animal lover and
Mm.
all. Like, I feel like how I would probably die one day is probably trying to pet something I shouldn't. So, like, it's weird. I have 3 dogs and 3 cats. I have a German Shepherd that I've had ever since she was 12 weeks. I have a mutt that I rescued, that was just nothing but skin and bones and so sad. And then I have a wolf who his name is Grizzly. And then I have 3 cats that I all rescued. So one cat kind of I moved into a house and she kind of came with the house in a way. And I felt so bad because she was out there by herself. So after I got the money to get all the stuff she might need, I brought her in the house. And then the other cats, I had one cat that fell from a tree because I
Mm.
was trying to get it and fell from a tree and got him. And then the last cat that I have that you're probably hearing meowing right now, um, she was so deadly sick that the vet had said that if I hadn't rescued her when I did, she probably would have died.
Mm.
And because she was so skin and bones, she has bad allergies. And like I had to buy an air purifier just for her because her allergies are so bad. And it took me a while to get her in the house. The other 2 I just picked up and brought in. But her, I had to sit out on my porch and kind of coax her to be able to come in.
Mm.
And then for the longest, she would not let me pet her. But I didn't care as long as she was in my
Mm.
house. So,
I get you there. Like I mentioned, my wife and I, we used to have more dogs, but a couple of them, they've both passed. But we still have one English bulldog, and man, he is my type of dog, the perfect
no.
dog for me. Feed him, give him water, let him outside to do his business, and then he's happy just napping away. Love it. But we also got 3 cats, 2 of which uh, we've had since her and I met. But one, it's funny because it wasn't even my idea to get them.
Hmm.
But like my wife had mentioned that she was wanting to get another cat. She shows me this picture, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I come home one night, and we have the master bedroom. The window overlooks the front yard and the driveway. And then there's one window kind of directly above where our garage is. And I look up there and the light's on. And I'm like, what the hell? I worked evenings at the time. I'm like, what the hell was the light doing in there? And there was a cat in the window. I'm like, did she leave the cat in there? And then I get up closer to where I can see into the window a little better. I'm like, that cat looks fluffier than R2. And then I'm going up. I'm getting ready to walk upstairs. I don't even get 1 foot on the step. My wife flips on the light and she's like, babe. And I just look at her. I'm like, you got another cat, didn't you? It wasn't the cat she showed me, but now the damn thing loves me. Like, I'll go to bed and he'll like just crawl right on top of me and sometimes use my beard as a pillow. Yeah. I don't know. I love him to death, but there's sometimes where I'm like, Jesus, it wasn't even my idea to get you. Yeah, crazy shit. All right. Now, behind me, some of my hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
I actually got one that I need to put up here. I got to freaking move shit around. But, wrestling, whether independence or national TV, it can take up a lot of time, keeping yourself
Mm-hmm.
in ring shape and all that. But lots of people in the wrestling community have different hobbies. What would you
Mm-hmm.
say is a hobby you have, if any?
Well, I'm an anime nerd,
Mm,
so I
okay.
I love anime. I do art, like I paint, draw, that kinds of stuff. I sew, and I'm hoping eventually I can get a sewing machine where I can hopefully soon start making custom gear
Mm,
and just stuff like that. So, I like doing that. I like dealing with my dogs. I love going on nature hikes and
mm,
seeing waterfalls and stuff like that. But yeah, I like to garden and just random stuff
mm.
that's kind of like that I like to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I love to bake too. And that's baking and cooking. I like to do
Mm.
that. So, but
Yeah,
that's
my
pretty much it.
my wife does most of the cooking. When I first met her, I think the most I could make was anything involving hamburger helper because everything else just kind of turned out tasting the same in the end. But after meeting her, I've my recipe book has filled up a little more. So I like to think I've definitely improved. But she's definitely the baker in the house. Like
Yeah.
when it comes to like family holidays, I think I forget if it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. It might be Thanksgiving, but like the whole family will on that side will ask her about different pies to bring. And like
Hmm.
she'll have a whole day at her mom's house just baking away different pies, this and that. I'm like, God dang, I wish I could do that, but part of me, no, because I don't know.
Well,
It, it,
every baker needs a test taster. So, or a,
no, I
yeah.
can be that.
So, yeah. So, I mean, y'all work great as a team. Like she bakes it and you tell her how good it is.
Yep, she bakes it, I eat it.
So,
Yay, professional taste tester. All right, and what? Kind of going off of that,
mhm.
I am not a picky eater in the least bit, but I definitely have some foods that, yeah, no. What would you say is a least favorite food of yours?
Uh, well, I'm not a picky eater either. I'm one of those, I'm willing to try anything
Mm.
once. Um, but I would have to say oysters is one
Oh,
that I cannot, I just, I just can't do. Um, Onions is another thing I can't do. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the texture. I don't know what, but I just every time I bite an onion, I just feel like I can just feel the stinkiness on my breath,
Mm.
and it's just like I don't know. I can't do it.
No,
Um,
I get it.
but I don't know. Like I don't think I have actual meals itself that I
Yeah,
don't like. I think it's just certain ingredients
E-
that
I
I don't
gotcha.
like.
No, I can definitely imagine that myself because, you know, much like you just said, I am the type of person that I will try just about anything once.
Hmm.
And then if I don't like it, there, I won't have it after that. But, and that's something that I've tried to pass on to one of my nephews because he's somewhat of a picky eater. I'm like,
Hmm.
dude, just try it because you never know. If you don't try it, you might never know if you just skipped what could end up being a new favorite food.
Right.
And then, yeah, but still, I do have my foods that I don't like. And one of them, it's like if it's mixed into something, I'm fine.
Hmm.
But separately by itself, no.
Yeah.
Peas. Just straight up peas by themselves, no. Don't even give them to me. But like mixed into like a casserole or something, it's like okay,
Hmm.
fine. They're mixed in with other stuff. It can mask the peas. But straight up peas, I can't. Just
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe texture thing or like biting it and it just squish and I'm like, don't don't want that in my mouth.
Yeah,
But
I have to eat them a certain way for me to eat them. So,
yeah, me in a casserole or something,
hmm.
I'm good. I can do that. Outside of that, no, nope. Or and I've actually had my family give me some shit about this one. Deviled eggs.
What?
I can't.
Oh, I
I
would demolish a plate.
my family one like I tried. My
Well, at
family
least
one
you
time
tried.
was like, dude, you gotta at least try this.
Hmm.
So I'm like, fine, I'll try. I put it in and I like took the bite and I was just like, eh. And now every time my family's like, here. I'm like, no.
You sound like me with coffee. Like I don't know what it is. People keep telling me I just haven't had it the way I would like it. And I don't, I think it's the aftertaste. I take a sip
Mm.
and I just want to, anything coffee flavored or just coffee itself, I just want to gag.
Yeah,
So,
I can't do straight up black coffee. Like that,
mm,
it just some people absolutely love it. Me, like I gotta have some stuff mixed in there. I
yeah,
gotta have at least that.
yeah. I can't even have that. Like just the hint of coffee, I just want to gag.
So you know what? That actually kind of well, somewhat leads into what my next question was.
Okay.
I guess we can have a safe guess of what your least favorite is. But what about your favorite drink, whether alcoholic or non, or one of each?
Mm, well, I'm a big monster drinker.
Mm,
I try not to drink a whole lot, but I'm a big monster drinker.
mm,
My favorite probably soda would probably more than likely be Sprite because I mean, obviously. But anyways, alcoholic drink I would say is amaretto sours. I don't know if I'm
mm.
saying that right, but
Yeah.
yeah, a lot. I get critiqued a lot on how I talk, so half the time I don't know if I'm saying words correctly. So,
No,
but that
it happens. There's some names like people have unique like last names or something, and
yeah.
I'm like, I'll ask them before we even start recording because I'm like, I do not want to butcher up your name.
Yeah, that's why I picked a simple name. So, Kind of
Oh,
hard to mess that up.
speak of the devil, that cat that I told you just seems to love the hell out of me for some reason.
Uh-huh.
Instead of my dog coming down, now he's walking over.
Oh.
Yeah, every now and then. But yeah, for me, non-alcoholic, I mean, hell, it's on my shirt. I even got a shot glass of it. Dr. Pepper. I'm a Dr. Pepper fiend. Like I literally saw a meme that was like, "Bro, who keeps Dr. Pepper in business?" And
I
I
saw that.
reposted it on my Facebook. I'm like, "It's me."
I used to love Dr. Pepper, but here recently, it's just every time I get one, it just tastes flat. And I don't
Yeah, that
like,
that can definitely throw it off. But yeah, my shirt and this shot glass was actually bought up at the Mall of America. We went to
okay.
one of the they have a Bubba Gump restaurant there. And first my wife saw the shot glass in the gift
Hmm.
shop and she shows me it. And I'm like, I have to have that. And then I saw they have the shirt too. And I'm like, okay, that's mine.
Surprised they didn't have a hat.
Oh, I bet they did. But me, okay, me when it comes to hats, they have the
Mhm.
the snapback ones that they say are one size fits all.
Oh no.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
I have not been able to, in the longest time, to find one of those that actually fit my head. Yes, I got a
Hmm.
big head. I got bullied about it in school. I'm well aware of it. Hell, I will say one funny story about this. In boot camp for me, the adjustable ball caps. I
Hmm.
well, my issue. This is an even further example of this for anybody that ends up listening that hasn't heard this one before because I told it. But the adjustable ball caps, the one side was starting to break, so I'd adjust it, and then all of a sudden it's like all freaking broken. So one time, my in the Navy, the drill instructors are RDCs, and they one of them came up to notice. I'm like, shit, because my recruiters were like, you're already going to be the highest rank you can be getting out of boot camp. You don't have to do any extra shit. You
Hmm.
can fly under the radar and be fine. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's what I wanted to do. But when you have that happen to your hat, it's kind of hard to do because he came up, took it, and was like, we got to order you a new one, don't we? I'm like, unfortunately. So then he literally took a stapler and just,
Oh my goodness.
and I kid you not, try flying under the radar when you are the only guy on the entire boot camp base with a
Hmm.
stapled together. Oh, God. I got lucky I was on my drill instructor's good side, but that was horrible.
That's funny. That's hilarious, actually.
Oh, God. I've, hell, funny stories on that. I got a bunch. But alcoholic, going back to the drinks, alcoholic, I do love my beer. I Stone Cold's Broken Skull American Lager,
Hmm.
even though I'm pissed that they don't have it any closer than Kansas City to me, which is like 2 hours away. But damn it, I am determined to get it. But I got my other favorite beers, but I'm mostly a beer drinker when it comes to alcoholic stuff, unless there's two types of tequila that I like because it's like they're so smooth. You put that stuff in a margarita.
Hmm.
Oh, you got to be careful because you're gonna be on the floor after more than like three.
Right.
All right, now last but not least here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
Um, Probably to be humble in a way, but know your worth. There's a lot of people that their ego is so big, but their talent don't match.
Mm,
And then there's a lot of people where their talent is so great, but they're so humble in themselves. And those, to me, those are always the best wrestlers. And always to respect others.
mm,
And one of the advice that my trainer has given me that I have learned, it took me a minute to actually be that way, but to be an asshole for the right reasons.
mm,
Like, just don't be an asshole for no reason. But like, if
yeah.
let's say you go to one promotion, and because we actually had a guy that's on our TV program who is really over and really he's great. He trained with me. His talent is phenomenal. But then he goes to this one show that's trying to get out of backyarding, but it's still kind of a backyard show. And he goes there and they wanted to squash him. And
Mm,
we're like, and we told him, we was like, hey, like, or I didn't tell him, but the trainer and other people had told him, they was like, hey, we really don't want you to be squashed because it doesn't work. You're on TV, you don't get squashed on TV, you're over on TV. So why
mm-hmm.
would you go to another show and get squashed?
Oh yeah,
And
totally.
that promotion didn't necessarily like it. I've had people where, they don't really understand the crazy gimmick, and I wanted to, like, and it was so petty. I wanted to bite a forehead.
Mm,
That's what I wanted to do. And them girls looked at me like I just said, and it was the only thing I called. And they looked at me like I was the dumbest thing ever, and they didn't want to do it. And I've had another girl that tell me that my moves didn't fit with the match, so I should do something else. So I told her that, and it's the same thing I told both of them. I'm going to do what I want because you're not going to call my stuff for me. And my stuff was the best part of the matches. So like, and I'm not
no,
trying to be, have a big
yeah,
ego or nothing, but I've had people tell me that my parts were the best parts of the matches. So,
no.
I mean, like I say, be humble but respectful, know your worth, and be an asshole for the right reasons. It's probably my biggest
Mm.
advice.
All in all, be humble and respectful, but don't put up with any bullshit.
Right. Because these people will take advantage of you in a heartbeat if you are nice. And it's great to be a nice person, but you can't be too nice because
Mm.
then they will take advantage of you and tear you down so fast.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely that type. I am generally a bit of a teddy bear, but I definitely I have a high tolerance for and patience for a lot of stuff, but a
Hmm.
very low tolerance for bullshit. So when I
Right.
see it, I'm just like, mm-mm. Oh,
Yeah.
and now he wants to show up. My dog finally came. Now when I'm just about done, yeah, I see it. But
Oh.
like I said, we're about done. But before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if
Mhm.
they don't already have their eyes on Raven Black, they can go ahead and get them there, especially for when this return is going to happen.
Well, I have a TikTok, which is Raven Black 24, I think is the number. I have Facebook, which is just Raven Black, and I have a Instagram, which is, I think you can find it with Raven Black Wrestles
Okay.
24. So I'm working on trying to get other things but I'm still learning the whole like social media with wrestling because I'm not
Yeah.
really great at it or
No,
uh, but eventually I do plan on trying to get more. So
no, I get you there. It can definitely be a bit of a tricky landscape, but
mhm.
we'll be sure to get as much of that as we can on the description. Yep, he's wanting to use my feet as a couch. Yep, there he goes. As long as he doesn't fart on my foot, I am fine. But anyways, that is about all we have. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me tonight. Best of luck out there getting ready for that return. I look forward to when you're able to make that leap back in there.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. That means a lot. And try to keep my dog from knocking down my stand here.